Now, outside of the flyweight bouts, this fight night is just not good. Therefore, I'm only covering the flyweights and some guaranteed locks because I just don't know most of the fighters on this card. For those of you who enjoy watching finesseful tacticians over good old sluggers, this card will definitely be up your alley. But regardless, before we get started, I want to emphasize I am not a financial advisor, and you should gamble responsibly. With that being said, I'm jumping straight into the main event of Alex Perez versus Tatsuro Taira. Now, the common belief is that Tatsuro Taira is going to submit Alex Perez. I can definitely see that happening. Alex Perez has shown holes in his submission defense, and Tatsuro Taira is arguably one of the best jiu-jitsu artists in the division. But getting Alex Perez to the ground is like trying to push back a brick wall. This matchup will not determine how good Tatsuro Taira really is, but also how good Muhammed Mokaev really is, which is why I'm really excited for this matchup. Like Tatsuro Taira, Muhammed Mokaev holds an undefeated record and uses a heavily grappling-based approach in his fights. Not only that, Muhammed Mokaev just recently fought Alex Perez. Does Alex Perez have brick wall takedown defense? Or is Muhammed Mokaev a fraud? Alex Perez stuffed 17 of 20 takedowns over the course of 15 minutes, and Muhammed Mokaev did jack shit with the takedowns he did complete. I can definitely see Tatsuro Taira submitting Alex Perez if he gets the fight to the ground. The question is, how is he going to get the fight to the ground? In terms of wrestling and getting to the ground at will, I hesitantly give a slight edge to Muhammed Mokaev because Mokaev can shoot takedowns at a mass volume without showing fatigue. Now, I believe Tatsuro Taira to be the much more technical grappler, but he does not shoot takedowns at the clip of Muhammed Mokaev and relies more on his opponents overextending for a KO after getting dropped on the feet. If this fight gets stayed on the feet, Alex Perez is going to pick apart Tatsuro Taira. Unlike Taira's previous opponents, Alex Perez is a lot more technical and methodical with his strikes. I don't think he can knock out Tatsuro Taira in one punch like he did with Mateusz Nicolau, but it should not be something Tatsuro Taira should test considering Perez is levels above anybody Taira has fought so far. The other thing to note is that this is a 5-round fight. Alex Perez has never really fought a full 5 rounds, but he's been through multiple 3-round decisions, and he doesn't seem to get tired that often. On the other hand, Tatsuro Taira has been in maybe one fight in the UFC that went to a decision, and he looked fatigued against Edgar Chairez. Now, Alex Perez has been in the game for a while, and the UFC want Tatsuro Taira to win. For the longest time, the UFC wanted to return to Japan, and now is the perfect time to do so. The UFC recently signed MMA superstar Kai Asakura, and if Tatsuro Taira beats Alex Perez, the UFC will open the floodgates for Japanese MMA to thrive like in the Pride days. It would be cool to see a UFC Japan card, but I think this push is a little bit too soon for Tatsuro Taira. Tatsuro Taira has never really fought a ranked opponent, much less someone in the top 5, and he has shown holes in his game against much lesser competition. More importantly, Tatsuro Taira was not even supposed to fight Alex Perez. He was supposed to fight an unranked prospect in Joshua Van. I will get to that fight later with Tagir Ulanbekov. Fair enough, you can say Alex Perez has holes in his game, but that is against former or current champions like Davidson Figueiredo and Alexander Pantoja. I'm picking Perez to school Tatsuro Taira to a TKO in the later rounds. But moving on to the people's co-main event, Alex Perez was scheduled to fight Tagir Ulanbekov, and Tatsuro Taira was supposed to fight Joshua Van. But the UFC made a swap, so now we have Tagir Ulanbekov versus Joshua Van. Joshua Van's really good, but there's just too many patterns for him to process in time to win the fight. I was going to pick Tatsuro Taira to submit Joshua Van, but the problem is I think he has a better chance to beat Tatsuro Taira style-wise than Tagir Ulanbekov. Tagir Ulanbekov is by far more well-rounded than Tatsuro Taira. Tagir may not have the jiu-jitsu of Tatsuro Taira, but he's a lot better than anyone Joshua Van has fought so far, including Joshua Van himself. And while Joshua Van may have better striking than Tagir, again, Tagir Ulanbekov is far better than anyone Joshua Van has fought on the feet as well as Tatsuro Taira. Tagir will be by far the mixed martial artist Joshua Van will have faced so far. It is no secret, Joshua Van needs time to heat up and download his opponent's patterns, and this often leads to him losing in the first round on the scorecards. Joshua Van also relies on a massive number of body shots to chip away at his opponents. The last thing to note is that Joshua Van's head movement is practically non-existent, and against a sniper like Tagir Ulanbekov, this is worrisome. I don't think Tagir can necessarily knock out Joshua Van, because Van can eat some bombs, but I can definitely see Van whiffing punches for a whole round as Tagir's on the back foot tagging Van up. Once Van gets the timing, I can also see Tagir switching up to his clinching and using his judo to get the fight to the ground. Tagir's not the best at one area, but he's very good at a lot of different things, and I think the variation in Tagir Ulanbekov's game is just too much for Joshua Van to process over the course of 15 minutes. Had this been a 5-round fight, I would actually pick Joshua Van, but I don't think there's enough time before Joshua Van can settle comfortably into the fight. I'm taking Tagir Ulanbekov by a unanimous decision. We're moving on. Asu Almabaev versus Jose Johnson. Normally, I would pick the massive weight bully to beat up anybody outside of the rankings in the lighter weight classes. But that is not the case for Jose Johnson. It's not that I rate Asu Almabaev that highly, because Asu Almabaev is a worse version of Muhammed Mokaev. Wrestle fuck you to death or lay and pray till you give up your back or something. Jose Johnson is pretty tricky. He has some nice reversals and sweeps from bottom, like when he fought Chad Analiger. The problem is there are just certain positions Asu Almabaev can hold a lot better than Chad Analiger, because Asu Almabaev is stronger and more technical. I'm not sure if Almabaev can get the submission, but I can definitely see Johnson struggling with sweeps due to better technique and strength. Jose Johnson also has the edge in striking, but it doesn't really matter against Asu Almabaev because the guy will just crotch sniff you for 15 minutes straight, unless you have one-punch knockout power. Johnson is moving down to flyweight from bantamweight, but it's not like he's been known to carry one-punch knockout power in the first place. So there's not too much to worry about for Asu Almabaev. Asu Almabaev can ragdoll Jose Johnson over the course of 3 rounds and maybe find the back and actually complete the rear naked choke in the third. I just think there's a substantial gap in skill between Asu Almabaev and Chad Analiger for Jose Johnson to look good against. I'm taking Asu Almabaev by a decision. As for the rest of this card, I don't really know much, but if I were to give another lock for the card, Josh Quinlan versus Adam Fugitt. Neither of these guys are really skillful, but Josh Quinlan can throw bombs and is always looking to scrap. Neither of them really shoot takedowns, so this is going to be a stand-up battle. In a stand-up battle, I don't see Adam Fugitt being able to put away Josh Quinlan over the course of 3 rounds, but I can see Josh Quinlan being able to knock out Adam Fugitt. Josh Quinlan lives and dies by the sword. Again, not very technical, but I can respect that because he's doing the best he can to win the fight. Josh Quinlan is most likely going to KO Adam Fugitt. And that's all I'm covering for today. A little bit shorter than usual, but I just don't have enough time to watch tape on nearly everyone else to give a prediction. This is the first time I'm watching a lot of these guys this week. Not a lot of name value overall, but there are a few matches that are worthy to take note of. Other than that though, I am starting to enjoy editing and breaking out cards, and I am just waiting for Saudi Arabia Fight Night and McGregor coming back. If there are any fights on either of those cards you want me to cover personally, then other than the main and co-main event, let me know down in the comments below. Other than that, Make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow my Instagram in the link below, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.